So a friend of mine reached out to me recently and she was just lamenting. Like the first 15 minutes of our discussion on phone was all about complaints, regrets, had I known and all of that. And what really led to all of this is that she just recently came to the UK. She's about 11 months in the UK right now, and she was basically saying that she is struggling. She was just like, oh, I am struggling. You don't even understand what I'm going through. I'm going through a lot of stress. I am depressed. I have sleepless nights. She has never had BP, high blood pressure in all of her life. Right now, she has begun to develop high blood pressure here, that she's going through a lot of stress, right from lack of finance, child care, stress, doing too much household chores when you don't have people to help you, and then the bills going out, and then the lack of, even sometimes lack of jobs, and you have to struggle to raise money on your own. Sometimes she has to call money from home, back from Africa. She has to ask for money from family, and she has asked for money from her family on 3 occasions. And then one day, her elder sister that sent her money at some point was like, people that live abroad are supposed to be the ones sending back money, not the other way around. So those words hit her very well. It made her feel like she was incompetent. So you live abroad, you're supposed to be the one sending back money, sending home, money, not them sending you money from Africa to the UK. So that was the last time she asked for money from home. So she was actually saying, how do you guys cope here? Like, how have you been coping in this country that is so stressful that sometimes she just goes to bed and sheds tears and just cries? She just lets herself cry. She just wants to just cry and empty herself because she feels so stressed out. She feels like sometimes she asks herself, what is she even doing here? That the reason why she came here was actually because of children. She wanted them to have a better future and all of that. But right now she's beginning to ask herself, is it actually worth it? So I let her speak. I let her pour out her heart. And when she was done talking, I said to her, first of all, you came here 11 months ago. There are people that have been here in the UK for up to 2 years, 3 years, even 4 years. And they are still struggling. They are still trying to adapt to the new situation they have found themselves. Of course, relocation is not an easy thing. You will surely struggle initially to make sure that you fit in, to make sure that everything that you were used to back from where you're coming from, you try to inculcate it into the new environment. That is, if it's similar. If it's not similar, you try to change and adapt to the new environment you have found yourself. So that's the first one. And then secondly, since you said you're doing it for your children, there are certain sacrifices you have to make. And while you're making the sacrifices, you should bear it at the back of your mind that it might not be an easy ride. So since you said you're doing it for the children, I would advise you just endure what you're going through now. With time, things will fall into place. You want a better future for your kids, right? She said yes. You want good health care for them? She said yes. I said, so that's it. You found yourself in the right place. Why don't you just manage? And, with time, people have been here for many years, 5, 6, 7 years. And a lot of people still have these complaints from time to time. But have they gotten what they really, really want? Some people might not have gotten all of it, while some might have gotten at least more than half of what they want. So in all ramifications, the grass is not always greener on each side. You might get here now, you find out that life is not as rosy as you expect it to be. And then you decide to move on to the next place, thinking, oh, that is where it's actually happening. And then you get there and discover that, my God, it's even the same thing, or it's even worse than where I'm coming from. That is the situation a lot of people have found themselves in, this issue of relocation. Relocating abroad requires a lot of brain work, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of decision making. Is it what you really want to do? Ask yourself questions. Is it what I really want to do? In the long run, are there consequences I'm going to face? Is there something I'm going to miss out if I decide to move on with my decision to travel, or if I don't travel? Am I in any way or the other going to experience any form of hardship? Am I prepared for it financially and otherwise, mentally? Because see, some people just think that, oh, relocating abroad, oh, once you just have the money, you just relocate. There are a lot of things that are attached to this relocation that some people have no idea. It's not all about money. It's not all about money. But there are some things you will not know until you actually get into that new country of your choice. So I try to make her understand that, well, you're just 11 months. It's not really too long. You will, with time, things will fall into place. And secondly, because she's the kind of person that she's not used to working the kind of long hours that she's actually working right now in the UK. She said sometimes she works as much as 14 hours a day. And then she has to do like this 14 hours, like long days like that, 3 days or 4 days at a stretch. So imagine doing 14 hours for 4 days. You do it 14 hours Monday, you come back in the night, Tuesday, you go out very early in the morning, 14 hours Wednesday, Thursday. She is drained. She is mentally exhausted. Health-wise, she's not doing well. You know, her BP thing has come into place right now. And the thing is that she doesn't even rest. So the lack of rest is also another problem that she is facing. And all of these are making her feel so stressed out, burnt out. Now I told her, you see, living abroad, especially a country like UK, you can't avoid certain stress. You can't avoid certain challenges. You can't. Except you are very aggressive about a change, except you are very determined that, you know, see this thing, it doesn't matter what I'm going to go through. I must make a change. I must move. I must make sure that I move from my current situation. I must make sure I have an alternative. And she was like, how do you mean? I said, now, first, you're doing a job that is requiring so much of your time. You're doing a job that is taking a lot of you, a lot of time from you, a lot of time from you, you know, your family time. She doesn't even have time to spend with the family. She hardly sees the kids. By the time she's back home, they are sleeping. And then sometimes weekends, she has to go to work. Sometimes she has to do night duty and all of that. I said, listen, in your case right now, you are a bit restricted because in the first place, the kind of visa that brought you into the country has kind of caged you to one spot. You came with a healthcare visa. The company that brought her into the country has a contract signed with her that she must work with them for a number of years. So she hasn't even worked up to half of this number of years and she's already feeling so stressed out and she feels like quitting and all of that. Now she's thinking of moving over to something else. And she said she has tried to make inquiries and she keeps getting told that she cannot just move from the contract she has signed that brought her into the country to a different career entirely. She has to stick with it. And even the healthcare company that brought her, when she approached them to tell them that, oh, you see, I want to move over to a different career, I want to change things, I don't want to work in the healthcare sector anymore. The first thing the director of the healthcare company told her is that, well, if you don't want to work with us anymore, if you think you're tired of working as a caregiver under this company, then you might want to go back home because our contract actually states that you will be with us for a period of 5 years. And this is just 11 months into the thing. So imagine how caged one could be when you find yourself in this situation. Imagine how depressing one could be when you find yourself in a spot that you have no control over. It's like someone is actually doing ping pong with your life. Someone is actually, you know, holding the ropes that connects to your life. Someone is actually determining your future in a country like this. So she is at a crossroad at this point because she can't just terminate her contract with this employer, this company. She has to serve the 5 years. Now, had it been she had come in with an open visa, that would have been a different thing entirely because she would have the option to choose where she wants to work. She would have the option to do what she wants to do. But that's not the case. Now, there's something I have noticed in a country like the UK. When you live in a country like this, or rather when you are coming to live in a country like this, be prepared. Be prepared to adapt to certain difficult situations. When I mean difficult situations, it comes in form of the weather. Now, some people come here and they complain, oh, the weather is very cold, we can't cope, feel so sick. Of course, that's part of it. Before you travel out, you should actually understand what the weather of where you're going to is. You should know what to expect. The weather here is very depressing. Sometimes it makes you feel so lonely. It makes you feel so, I don't know how to explain it. It makes you feel so all by yourself. It makes you feel so isolated. You know, everyone is covering up. Everyone is hiding in their homes because the social life here is I'm sorry to say, but the social life here is almost non-existent, especially if you live outside of London. If you live in London, well, yes, yeah, maybe, yeah, from time to time you could go places, you see your fellow migrants and, you know, people who want to hang out with you. You have parties, you have social gatherings. But if you live outside of London, especially if you live very, very far off from London, where these kind of things don't really exist, then be prepared. And then that's one of the reasons why she's also depressed, because she said she doesn't even have places to go to. She doesn't have friends. Nobody comes to visit her. She doesn't go to visit anybody. She can't remember the last time she was invited for a birthday party or a wedding or what have you. And these are the kind of things she used to enjoy when she was back home in Africa. These are the kind of things she used to indulge herself in almost every weekend. So for someone who is that's, you know, outgoing, an extrovert like that, to now come to a different place and you are being covered, it's like you are actually the word I would just use is like you are in a cage. Like your movement is limited, your social life is limited. There's so many things that are limited that you need to understand, and that is one of the things she's actually facing at the moment. Now, she went ahead to say also that another thing she was not really prepared for is the wages, the money. She said that when she was back home, she was making quite a lot of money. She was doing well for herself. You know, she had her own business. Her husband, you know, also has his own company. They're doing very okay. Only for her to get here, at the end of the day, every month, her take-home pay after taxes is about 1,500. That sometimes she has to do a lot of overtimes just to see if she could raise more money, she could make more at the end of the month, so that the money will cover up a lot of expenses. But after packing all of those overtimes, she discovers that the more you work, the more money you're giving to the system, the more tax is being taken away from your wages. So that was where she decided, no, she can't continue working like this, working like an elephant every day you work. And then when the money is paid, before the money even gets to you, the huge tax is snatched away from your account. It's taken away already. And then the little one is given to you. And then by the time it gets to her hand, maybe she's getting like 1/3, 1/4. They have to pay the rent from it. They have to buy gas and electric. They have to buy food. They have to buy insurance for the car. The children are there. There's a lot of expenses. And at the end of the day, what she has to live with is about 300 or maybe 250 pounds. And she's like, is this what I'm going to continue doing every day? Is this how I'm going to survive? Is this what I'm going to live with? And she was telling me, Dora, this UK is hard. It's a hard life you live here. I said, well, it all depends on how you see it. Because a lot of people don't see it this way. A lot of people actually think that, oh, you know, once you get to the UK, you just start balling, you just start making money, the money is everywhere, you just go and pick it up and all of that. So it's only when you come in, you actually understand the intricacies of living in the UK. You actually understand what exactly is happening here. You understand how it works. That it's not really about just working and making the money. When you're working and making the money, who takes all of this money? Most of it goes to the tax. Most of it goes to your bills. You can't live in this country without paying bills. It's not just possible. Like, it's not possible. It's not possible that you live in this country without paying your bills. You must be paying something. It's either you're paying your water bills, you're paying your electricity bills, you're paying the gas, you're paying your council tax. It comes from everywhere. And sometimes it's so crazy. Even to those that have been here for a long time, people are still struggling. They are really struggling. It's like you can't even just adapt to the system. There are areas where you find it so challenging. one thing I actually wanted to discuss with her, rather I discussed it with her, but just because her visa is being limited, that was a problem. You know, in a country like this, where you think your 9 to 5 is doing nothing for you, the best idea is just to go self-employed. Get something doing. Get something doing. You know, just have your own business. Start your own thing. No matter how little it is, even if it's a 50 pounds coming in, 70 pounds coming, but it is your own. Have that one that you know, number one, even though it stresses you out at the end of the day, it's coming directly to your pocket. Number two, you are in charge of your time. Do you know what it is to be in charge of your time? You can do what you want when you want. You can go where you want, when you want. You are your own boss. It's not like you're working for somebody else and you're being paid peanuts at the end of the month. There's so many things that are, tied to this, but it takes a lot to actually understand how some of these things work. A lot of people just come in here and work. And that's why sometimes you hear things like carers are dropping, some people are falling sick, a lot of people are slumping because of the stress attached to the kind of jobs they come here to do. It's actually not so easy. That's why some people say, oh, UK is not for everybody. And of course, it's not for everybody. It's not for the faint-hearted. You must be mentally, psychologically, and physically strong to be able to wage all of these challenges when they hit you.